Have you ever looked at someone at the peak of their craft and felt a pang of something hollow inside? A voice that whispers they were just born with it. You see their effortless grace, their intuitive genius, and you chalk it up to a lottery you didn't win, a gift from the gods you were never granted.
But what if I told you that this idea, this comfortable and devastating myth of natural talent, is the most elegant prison ever constructed? A cage with invisible bars that has kept you from your own greatness, convinced you that you're a spectator in a world of destined performers. What if the very concept of being gifted is a lie designed to keep you safe, small, and forever admiring from a distance? This is not a story about false hope. It is about something far more brutal and far more empowering. It is about dismantling the altar where you have sacrificed your potential. This is the brutal truth of mastery. Because the path to becoming extraordinary is not paved with gifts, but with something far more accessible and infinitely more demanding. Welcome to Umbra Decode. The work begins now. You live in a world that worships the finished product. You are fed a narrative of prodigies who emerged from the womb with a symphony in their heads. And with every story of a natural, a piece of you quietly gives up. You try to learn a new skill. The blank page mocks you. The first few weeks at the gym are a symphony of pain. And in that moment of struggle, the myth rushes in like a poison. See, it says, if you were meant to do this, it would feel easy. So you stop. This is the prison of the talent myth. It creates a binary world, the haves and the have-nots. By accepting this illusion, you absolve yourself of the responsibility to truly try. It's easier to say, I don't have the talent, than it is to admit, I am not willing to endure the process. The psychologist Anders Ericsson, the father of the science of expertise, spent his life studying the world's top performers. His conclusion was earth-shattering. He stated, the gift of talent is a dangerous myth. The most effective practice is not fun. It is a strenuous, deliberate effort to stretch your current abilities. The ease you see in the master is not a sign of their gift. It is a sign of their scars. The illusion is the effortlessness. The reality is the relentless, monotonous work that came before. You are not lacking a gift. You are avoiding a price. To understand why you remain trapped, we must talk about your vital energy, your focus, your willpower, your creative drive. The talent myth is a parasite that leeches this energy. When you believe others succeed because of an innate advantage, your energy flows into the toxic channels of comparison and envy. You are not working on your craft, you are obsessing over the perceived gifts of another. This is a quiet form of self-abandonment. Worse still, the myth creates an internal enemy, the fear of proving you don't have it. You hesitate to start because failure feels like a verdict on your very nature. You are so afraid of the judge's gavel that you refuse to even take the stand. The enemy is not your lack of talent. The enemy is the story. It's an insidious loop. The belief creates inaction. The inaction prevents skill. The lack of skill reinforces the belief. You are waiting for the feeling of confidence before you begin. But confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct. It is the residue left over after you have done the work. Your energy is being squandered in waiting, in comparing, in fearing a judgment that only exists in your own mind. It is being spent on everything except the one thing that can shatter the myth entirely. It is a weapon, but it is not for the faint of heart. The antidote to the poison of the talent myth is a weapon forged in the fires of monotony. This weapon is brutal consistency. This is not the casual consistency of going to the gym when you feel like it. This is a radical, almost monastic devotion to the process, irrespective of your mood, your results, or your motivation. Brutal consistency is the act of divorcing your actions from your feelings. When you wield this weapon, the game changes from a lottery of talent to a war of attrition. And it is a war you can win. A person with a supposed gift who practices inconsistently will always be surpassed by the person with average aptitude who shows up every single day. The race is not to the swift, it is to the relentless. This is what Erickson called deliberate practice. It's the singer practicing the one note they always miss, not the song they already perform perfectly. This weapon is available to you now. It requires no special permission, no genetic advantage. It requires only your decision. But do not be deceived. The decision to pick it up is simple. Wielding it day after day is the hardest thing you will ever do. The path of brutal consistency is a lonely, thankless journey. The first price is the death of your ego. Deliberate practice forces you to live in a constant state of incompetence. You must willingly and repeatedly confront your own limitations. Most people cannot endure this. The second price is isolation. While others are seeking distraction, you will be in your workshop doing the work. They will call you boring, antisocial, crazy. You must be willing to be alone, not out of misanthropy, but out of a sacred devotion to your craft. The third and most difficult price is the confrontation with monotony. The amateur believes they must feel passionate to do the work. The master does the work to reignite the passion. You must learn to love the boredom. This is the deconstruction process. The discomfort is the friction of growth. The loneliness is the space required for creation. You are not just building a skill, you are building a new identity. And what happens after you have walked this path and achieved mastery? Here is the final tragic irony. You may feel a desire to return, to show others the way. You will tell them the truth. It was not a gift, it was thousands of hours of brutal, monotonous work. But they will not hear you.
They will not see the scars. They will only see the performance. They will call you talented, not as a compliment, but as an excuse for their own inaction. They will place you back on the altar of the gifted, dismissing the very path you were trying to illuminate for them. They will protect the prison because the bars are comfortable. You cannot force people to see the truth. You can only embody it. Your duty is not to shatter their illusion, but to build your reality. Question the narrative. Embrace the process. Be willing to be misunderstood. The temple of the gifted is crowded with worshipers. The path of the architect is lonely. But it is the only path where you are truly free. And third, devotion to the system, not the goal. The goal of writing a novel is terrifying. The system of writing 500 words every day is manageable. The goal of becoming a grand master is abstract. The system of analyzing one game every morning is concrete. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Brutal consistency is about building a system so robust that it makes progress inevitable, even on the days you feel like an imposter. This is the weapon, and wielding it will cost you everything. The path of brutal consistency is a lonely, thankless journey. The first prize is the death of your ego. Deliberate practice forces you to live in a constant state of incompetence. You must willingly embrace the feeling. The second prize is a sacred isolation. While others seek distraction, you will be in your workshop. You will be misunderstood. This is not a punishment. It is a necessary crucible for forging a new identity, one based not on external validation, but on internal commitment.
But the most dangerous price is paid in the long, silent middle of the journey. This is the plateau of latent potential. For days, weeks, and sometimes months, your brutal, consistent effort will appear to yield zero results. You will practice every day, and you will see no improvement. This is the great filter. This is where most people quit. This is the moment of transformation. The work was working the entire time, but it was storing energy. You were building a foundation that was not yet visible. The breakthrough only comes after you have endured the soul-crushing boredom of the plateau. To achieve mastery, you must learn to trust the process, even when there is no evidence that the process is working. You must have faith in the unseen victory. And what happens after you have paid the price and achieved mastery? Here is the final tragic irony, an echo of Plato's allegory of the cave. You may feel a desire to return to the cave, to tell the other prisoners the truth. You will stand before them and say, "The gift is a shadow on the wall. The reality is outside. It is built through a steep, rugged ascent of deliberate practice." But they will not hear you. They will laugh, because your message is terrifying. If you are right, if mastery is earned, then their own mediocrity is a choice. It is a result of their own unwillingness to pay the price. This truth is too painful to accept, so they will reject it. They will call you talented, not as a compliment, but as a defense mechanism. It is a way to place you in a different category of human, a have to their have-not, which absolves them of the responsibility to try. They will protect their chains, because the chains are comfortable.
You cannot force people to wake up. Your duty is to embody the truth, to do the work, to build your reality. Question the narrative, embrace the process, find the others who are also climbing, and ignore the jeers from the cave below. The temple of the gifted is crowded with worshipers. The path of the architect is lonely. But it is the only path where you are truly free.